a New England airline, and so they said, well, we fixed the Speaker of the House, McCormick, who is from Boston. Now, you know Lyndon Johnson. My father said, yes, I know him. Well, give him this envelope, and then I will take care of him. My father said, well, what is it? And they said, well, it's $30,000. That's his price. I said, well, my father said, well, is there another airline he prefers? I said, no, no, no. He is paid for his vote. This was a mere 40 years ago, when the country was innocent again.
How do you feel that the internet affects reporting and the flow of information, and do you think it offers the opportunity to get through the corporate-dominated mainstream media?
How does the internet affect? I don't know. I don't think anybody understands quite what the effect will be. The great proof that it is going to be astonishingly powerful is the fact that government is trying to get its thumbs on the windpipe of the internet to choke it to death or use it for their own dark ends. So that is proof positive that the thing will probably determine opinion and perhaps politics from now on. Beyond that, your guess is as good as mine. Tell me when I'm supposed to find out.
How much longer? You've spoken for about almost an hour, Gore. You want to take this?
I've spoken for almost an hour. It seemed just like a minute. To me.
We were talking about diaries. You keep a journal or a diary, and if so, do you plan to have it published?
Do I keep a diary, and do I plan to have it published? I do not keep a diary. I write books, and that's quite enough writing for me at any time. Anais Nin kept a diary in order to get even.
Gore, how much do you think a formal college education would have set you back in your progress in writing?
How much would a formal education, I never went to college, have set me back as a writer? It could have been terminal, you know. See, I wanted to know everything, and nobody wanted to tell me. I went through Exeter, where I got a gentleman's seat, and I could have gone to Harvard when I got out of the Army, but my first book was published. I used to sit in class in Exeter and wonder, when are they going to stop boring me to death? I knew it was all wrong, but I didn't have enough information to determine how to make an alternative educational system. Nothing I was interested in just about everything. I mean, I grasped the necessity of I before E except after C, which has made me the writer I am today. But I used to ask in Latin class, when are we getting to the Roman Empire? You're in it, they said. The Aeneid? Yes, they said grimly. I took that for 4 years.
Oh, Gore?
Yes.
Professor Alan Anderson would like to ask you a question.
Professor Anderson.
In the present book, I found absorbing and very provocative the theme of timeliness. On the one hand, the quantitative side of that would naturally interest the physicists, but the qualitative side of it would, I hope, interest the philosopher. And I wonder whether you had thought perhaps to do us the favor of a sequel to this book that would explore the qualitative side of either or in making an ingression into time, whether past or future.
Professor Anderson, a physicist, so I am in awe of a philosopher, I'm sorry. Well, philosophy and mathematics and quantum physics, I would assume, are certainly next door to each other. He was asking about that in this new book. I am dealing with quantum physics and space-time and playing games with it. And would I continue with this line of thought on the grounds that it is next door to philosophy, or indeed is philosophy, where we start what we are is reality. There's a great case which Buddhists sometimes make that we aren't here at all. So there are also alternative universes which physicists are now brooding upon. And then there is what probably, I don't want to put you all to sleep immediately, but very good biographer at work, and he's an English critic, and so it isn't going to be scandal, but he had an idea that my theme was always metamorphosis. And that is certainly the theme of the Smithsonian Institution. We metamorphose into things other than ourselves, rich and strange, as Shakespeare would put it. And this, to me, going all the way back to Ovid, whom I did read, is a fascinating thing about the human race, to the extent with which we are capable of total change, and the problem that we're stuck with. We have sufficient imagination to realize that we have only 2 lobes to our brain. That means we think either or, either yes or no, either black or white, either up or down, either hot or cold. Well, there's a 3rd one somewhere, and maybe 4th and 5th and multiple ones. Our brains can conceive it, but we can't think along those lines. And what I created in this was a kind of prodigy boy, quantum physicist, a genius, who turns out to be, by the end of the book, what even Einstein would recognize as the next step in our evolution. That something has happened in him by just accident of birth, and that we are moving on to another plane of which we have the potential, but we do not have the means, the carrier, as it were, to get us there. So there, to make the book sound totally unreadable, except to quantum physicists, is my theme. Yeah.
What do you think is the most dangerous and what is the most hopeful trend in the U.S. today?
The most dangerous and the most hopeful trend in the U.S., well, I would think that the extraordinary power of television controlling the news, and those who control television, back of it, is a great danger, because we don't get anything right. Everything we hear is wrong, and they get on health care, for instance, for years. We used to hold up Sweden as an example of great health care, great educational system for every daycare centers for working mothers with children and so on. Aha, said the right wing, but they all get drunk and kill themselves while practicing free love. In other words, if you educate people and give them education, they'll be so bored that they will kill themselves. Where under arrant capitalism, they're so worried about staying alive that they'll stay alive to worry about being alive. Yes?
Gore, a note was passed in from the crowd somewhere. A question, it's a local question apparently. It looks like San Diego is going to name a U.S. attorney and border affairs czar as superintendent of our public schools, which have about 40% Latino students. He is a former securities litigator. Please comment. I'm unaware of this.
Well, the securities litigator part is hopeful. This is a money economy, and if you read the papers and listen to television, you don't do anything but hear about how much money people make. It's the only subject out there. And thank heavens for Clinton, you know. I mean, at least we get oral sex and not Oral Roberts.